Are we? Yes, we are now recording. So this will be starting with the apps that are for the photos and the camera. And you only have the native camera here. You could get more cameras that are either free or not free if you wanted to. I was thinking I might have added one other one, but I don't see it, so I'm not going to worry about that. So the photos, let's click on that. And I put some in here, so it's asking me to update the photo library, but I'd have to connect to Wi-Fi, and I don't want to do that. So, okay. So I put some photos in here just so you would have some, and we could look at where they are and what they look like. And this down here, you have photos and shared and albums. Albums is the one that I use the most. Otherwise, it's just going to give you a long string. And this one is called Collections. And you can also look at them, as well as looking at them by albums. You can look at them as collections, which is like this. You can look at them by the year. And if you had more than 1 year, it would say 2014, 2013, 2000, and have all the pictures under there very small. And then you would be able to make them larger. But to go to the albums, I've also set up some albums for you, and some of them are native and you can't get rid of them. So all photos is the one that looks like that. And it will just keep going. Mine is really, really long. Some of these are duplicates, and you can remove those if you want. I just didn't take time to do that. I just wanted some stuff in here. So we're going to go back to albums. And screenshots, there are none in here because I haven't taken any screenshots. But in case I didn't tell you how to do that, the way you do that is you get whatever picture you want on the front here, and then you press the hard button at the bottom, plus the off button, the off key, on-off key here at the top where my finger is pointing at the same time. And that's all you have to do. And it will automatically go into your all photos. And then you can put it into one of your animals, albums if you want. So here I've set you up a few albums, one called Family, Animals, Art Craft, and Miscellaneous. And you'll see that if you click on them, you get just that particular album. And then to make it larger, you can do that. But let's go back, and you can edit it or delete it or share it or make it a favorite. I'm not sure what favorites does exactly. So then you can go back to the miscellaneous album, and then you can go back to all the albums. And for instance, there will be more pictures. You can see that there are more pictures here under animals and family. So there are 3 here, and here for family, there are a whole bunch. And part of the reason I did that was not only because I had those pictures of yours and they'd be of interest to you, but if you want to use them as your contacts pictures or anything, there's one there for most of the people that you know that are in our family. And so once you get to that, you could use that if you wanted to. Selecting, that would probably mean that you would touch various ones, and then you would tell what you wanted to do to those. Like, for instance, you might want to delete all of those. You might want to add those to a different album, and you can have them in more than one album at one time. Or you might want to share them in some way. That's that little box with the arrow in the top. Or you can select all, instead of having to go through them if you wanted to. Or you can cancel, like in this case. So let's go back to the albums. You can add an album of your own by clicking this little plus sign up here. And that will say, tell me the name for this new album, and then you'd click save and you'd have a new album. Cancel. And edit would mean that you would either delete them or maybe move them around. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can move this Yes, so you could move it if you wanted to, or you could delete them. So we're done now. Okay, so let's get back to, that's the Photos app itself. Let's see if I need to say something else about that. Photos that you take with your iPad will appear in this Photos app, and also most photos that you take with other apps that you might have in your apps or just screenshots. They'll all be here. To get other photos that you might have into the iPads from, say, your phone, one of the ways is to Gmail it to yourself. And then you'd be able to, quote, save it to Photos app, or save from websites or text messages, whatever. Now, there may be a way to get batch photos, meaning a whole bunch of photos, from the Android tablet into the iPad, but probably that would require the cord, or you might be able to use any that were in iCloud, but you don't know about that yet, and that's very confusing to me too, so I'll just leave it at that. So now we'll go back to the camera app as opposed to the Photos app, and that's this one, the Native Camera. And the iPad, this particular iPad was the first one, I believe, that had the front and back camera. So in other words, you can take a picture going out like you would with a regular camera, or you can turn the camera around and take a picture of yourself. That's also video. So you can click on here to get to the camera app, or you can do it quickly by flicking upward from the lock screen without even entering a passcode. So let's try that. Boop. So down here you see that this little camera app is there, so you could open it from there. And this is the way you close the notifications. I mean, the whatever they call that, the quick notifications. Okay, I told you that. Okay, so let's go to the camera app. And here doesn't have anything to take a picture of, so this is going to be a little difficult. But let's see, let's turn it around. It's usually a little thing. Okay, so now it's turned around and it is shooting upward. I can't figure out where to put my fingers. It's shooting upward toward, you can see the actual, this is backwards. I'm very confused. I'm not going to be able to figure this out. Anyway, the little reverse, take the picture from the front instead of the back or vice versa icon is this little camera, and it's got two very small arrows in it that are reverse arrows. So there you can also, this is your start shooting button right here. And you can take various kinds. Let's see if I can move that from here or how I do it. Yes, the one that is lit up in yellow is the one that's selected. Now, I think this bar is usually across the bottom, which is part of what's confusing me. It's doing a side view here. But it will, by default, be set on photo. If you want to take a video, like I'm doing right now, but on my iPhone, then you have to move the little thing to where video is highlighted. You can also take a square photo, and that's just because you want to, or because that's what Instagram does, is square. That's what they'll put in there, so nothing would be cut off. Now you also have these other two little neat things called time lapse. Oh, the other one is not here. You can't do the other one. But if you set it on time lapse, that means that you could do like they do when they take pictures of clouds and then speed them up so that the action is much faster than it would normally be. And the other one, I forget what it's called, but maybe it's just called slow-mo. It will take video, but you don't have that, so I shouldn't even tell you about that. I didn't realize that that was not available on the iPad, this particular iPad. So let's see, what else do I need to say about that? So when you're taking the picture with the native app, you have to press this button in order to release the shutter. There are some apps that you can buy where you can set it so you can touch anywhere on the screen. This one, if you're taking video, you'll need to press it once and then it will start the video going, and then when you're ready to stop, you'd press the button again with your finger. Let's see. This, I don't know what else to say about the camera app. There's probably a lot more, but I just can't remember it. Now, let's see. So, the maps, you'll just have to kind of figure out yourself. This is the native, not native, this is the regular Google Maps, and you either know how to use that or you don't, but it's a lot to figure out, so I won't go into that. Notes is another native app, and I never use it, but since it's here, we'll look at it, and it allows you to do a lot of things where you can save it, and I think you can even do videos and stuff like that, but you can see I don't really have anything there, so that's not really helpful. Let's go back. There. Now, I'm pretty sure I showed you about flicking these upward, but to get rid of them. But let's say we're going to get rid of the camera app now. Close it, and we'll close the Notes app too. And this is the way it looks on the new version of the operating system. Before it was not side by side, it was different than that, but I've gotten used to the side by side now. So to select this one, you would just touch it and then you're back, especially if the five-fingered pull doesn't work. I mean, it's just a little fiddly, so sometimes it works better than other times. I think I showed you, since I have a couple of minutes left, I'm just filling in down here, the FaceTime. This would normally be an app that would be up here, but because I put the ones on the bottom that are ones that I use the most, and therefore I don't want to have to go searching for them. And so the ones that I have put for you, and you can change which ones are down here, are Safari, which is the preferred preferred browser for the Apple system. However, a lot of times Chrome, I think you have Chrome on here, or Chrome will be brought up sometimes just because other sites prefer it. This is your Gmail, and here are your text messages, and here is your FaceTime. And FaceTime is how you're going to be able to talk to me like Skype, only much faster and much easier. And you can do the same thing with anybody who has an Apple device of any kind, an iPhone, an iPad, or one of those funky other ones. But say, for instance, you wanted to talk to Neely, who has an iPhone, I think, and probably an iPad. She almost certainly has FaceTime on hers, unless it's disabled by her parents or something. And so you'd be able to, talk to her, show her things, turn the camera around, show her things outside if you wanted to, just do various things. Okay, we're almost at 15 minutes again. Boy, it goes fast when you haven't got it all sorted out so you can say it really quick. So let's see. Here we've got, just in case I didn't say this before, I put most of the ones on here that are the social media type ones, plus YouTube. I have a second Google Maps here. I'm not sure. Maybe that other one was the native other Apple app, which is not as good. And here's your iHeartRadio and your C2C, and here's Amazon. And the app's gone free. Oh, I'm going to have to stop. That's a way you can get free apps. that are recommended. Bye. How do I turn it off? Stop.